Well, for more on how the upcoming election may benefit Australian industry, we can now go live to Singapore and speak to David Forrester. He's currency economist at Barclays Capital. So, David, how concerned are you about the possibility of a hung parliament here?
Well, realistically, history suggests that hung parliaments are quite rare. The last time we had one was in 1940. Now, we also have to remember that the polls, while they're pointing to a neck-and-neck race, they've in the past been pretty good at picking a winner, but pretty bad at actually picking the margins. So I don't think we can rely too much on the polls.
Right. Well, with regards to the mining tax, I mean, this is going to be an issue that has to be resolved pretty quickly here. I mean, can we expect that to be addressed right away, whoever wins?
Well, a lot will depend on the extent or the makeup of Parliament. If Labor gets a majority in the lower house, then there won't be any issues. We don't think the Greens will have enough power in the upper house to actually block the mining levy. And the Greens, note, have actually said that they would support a government, the government mining levy because their main priority is a carbon tax. So I don't think that there is as much controversy about uncertainty about the mining tax that some of the commentators are making out. In the case of Abbott, and if they get a clear majority, then it's clear that the mining tax will go.
Now, the economy is the biggest issue, many are saying, in this election. And people with mortgages in places like Sydney and Brisbane, they're going to play a huge role in deciding who wins this. They're concerned about cost of living pressures, also about the prospect of more interest rate hikes. How much is this a factor in this election?
Well, I think they are a big factor because these were the heartland voters for John Howard, and of course they don't have John Howard to vote for anymore, and they swung to Kevin Rudd. So the issue here is, can Julia Gillard garner these mortgage belt voters after ousting Rudd? And that's quite a challenge for the Labor Party. And they have probably actually underestimated the ability of Tony Abbott to appeal to these voters. So it is quite a significant factor.
What about the Aussie dollar? What's the prospect for it over the next few months?
Well, once we get this election out of the way, and we think if there isn't a hung parliament, it'll be a modest boost. But at the end of the day, Australia is very familiar with coalition politics, so we would expect any form of hung parliament to be resolved relatively quickly after a not so long period of uncertainty, and for the Aussie dollar to then go back to being determined by global factors. And those global factors at the moment are weighed against the Aussie. You've got a slowdown in growth in the US, you've got a tightening of policy in EM Asia, and both of those factors suggest that global growth is going to be slower going forward, perhaps below trend. So that's going to lead the Aussie gradually lower, we think.
David Forrester, currency economist there at Barclays Capital, joining us from Singapore. Thank you very much.